Stop! Don't cut the cable TV just yet! Huh? You have? Oh, I'm sorry. You didn't watch this video first. Well, this video is for those that are ready to cut their TV cable. Don't do it just yet. Please listen. So I've got some devices back here to help you get started on reducing your cable bill. Now, I'm going to say get rid of the cable TV service, like your television service and your cable phone service, and just leave the internet. And I'll tell you right off the bat, if you're on cable internet, man, you are on sweet service. Don't complain about the price, because that's better than DSL. And I'm not here to whine and cry about DSL, because I'm okay with it. But the fact is that it is tremendously expensive for 3 connections to get good speed. So let me show you the equipment that is what the typical home user has. And many of you have that right now at home, and you're actually running it to watch this video. Basically, everybody has a modem router combination. This is Verizon. This is from our phone company service provider. And on the back it has your phone port and your Ethernet ports. This one also is wireless. I don't like this particular unit for the fact that the antennas are built inside of the modem slash router. And ask yourself, do you want accessibility or reliability? Now, what I mean by accessibility is that this is accessible throughout the entire house. Now, the only thing with a built-in antenna is that you're only getting good signal in that room where this thing is installed. Now, as it goes out for the entire house, the signal gets weaker. And if you're wanting to cut the cable, now, like I said, this is DSL. So basically, you users on cable TV service would have a modem with a coaxial adapter in the back instead of a RJ11. So, I don't recommend using a system like this to run your video streaming stuff, or your services, excuse me. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself a little bit, but let me tell you what you need to do to cut your cable bill down. Now, I'm not going to say you can get rid of all of it, because where are you going to get internet? I mean, DSL is out of the option for you, really. Because now DSL companies are actually forcing you to take their landline service whether you want it or not. And I'm grandfather claused in to have just dry loop, which is not this. We're not in this video to describe what dry loop is. It's just internet only with no phone, basically, is what it amounts to. So I have a wireless system, not this one really. But let me show you what I've got. Now, this is a wireless access point. This is not a router, but your typical router would look like this for a home use. I do not like wireless for the fact that, like I just said, that it's unreliable. And if you're planning to use phone service, so what's out there if you're asking me? Well, there's a lot of different options. There's, for phone service, there's, well, the one I'm using right now, and I like it. It's called UMA. And it's about, for me, it's $15 a month. Now, it depends on where you're at, what state you're in. I'm in New York, so taxes are $5. And the basic UMA Premier is $10 a month. And you get loaded full of different features, which I'm not going to drag it all out on this video here. If you want to find out more, you can get a hold of me, please. I'm here to help you out with this stuff. And I'm going to be putting up links to different things on YouTube and Facebook to help you folks out. Now, what I like about, well, like I said, this is kind of a bittersweet unit because it does work, but it's poor signal, is the fact that I can take my antenna and I can turn it whatever way I want. So my right side of my room will get signal, my left side, and then in the middle. And basically that is good ground right there for this particular unit. And if I was all on one level in a house, this would work excellent. But I have a 2-story house, and once you get upstairs, the service gets weaker. Now take this as, I know I'm getting off the subject again, but as a radio station, okay? A radio station broadcasts how many miles away from you? Say like, well, say like 10 miles away from you. If you're 5 miles, the signal's better than you are at 10. And the signal is way a lot better at 1 mile than it is at 5. And it's even better at right on top of the station. So that's why wireless won't work too well for HD video. And that's the thing I want to talk about today is video streaming. And I know I'm kind of going back and forth on a subject of phone and TV and all that stuff, but I gotta cover it all, and I can't cover it all in little, one group here, one group there. I kind of go back and forth. I try to stay on topic, but it's tough for me to do that, okay? So let me get back to the phone service. Now, UMA, as of right now, is $120 for a one-time startup fee. Now, what I mean by that is you can buy the box on Amazon, or you can, like for $80 on Amazon, or you can buy directly from UMA for $10 more, so it'd be $100. And so it's like, let's see here, it's about $40 to transfer your existing phone number. Now that is one thing to be cautious about. One thing that you never want to do when you're switching phone service, okay? And you want to transfer your existing phone number, do not shut your phone service off with Time Warner Cable or whatever your cable company is, or even if you have landline, okay? Very few people have that. I got rid of mine last year, so they told me not to shut it off, wait a month, and you're like, and I was antsy myself, because I was like, I want to get off from this landline stuff and go digital. Well, it took a lot less time to transfer it than they said, but wait a month. And I can't explain it all to different phone companies out there, but there's like Google Voice, which is free, but it doesn't have 911 service. There's Vantage. Now, I can't say for today about Vantage, because I tried it when I first saw it, and it wasn't that good. Now, I don't know if it, and I can't say about it now because I haven't gone back to them, and who knows what the situation was back then, why it didn't work for me. I don't know. I didn't keep record why. But their box is a lot cheaper, the VoIP box. I just keep calling it a box because it's basically a box with your telephone jacks in it and your Ethernet jack. And the box was cheaper, but the phone service is more expensive. Now, UMA has a more expensive box, and their phone service is cheaper. And I don't mean it's cheap because it's unreliable. I mean, it's affordable. And I enjoy it. And right now, I'm going to be switching over to the TV service end of things, and then I'm going to be showing you other equipment that I have, and some of it I need to test. So, on to TV now. You need a box. Now, you don't need a box if you got a computer with HDMI in it, which means high definition interface. And you just need to plug that into your TV like you would your your cable box, for example, or anything for that matter that has HDMI. I mean, I don't know what doesn't come with HDMI anymore. I mean, the only thing that doesn't come with HDMI is your VCR or DVD player. Now, some of the new DVD players that are coming out, like Blu-ray, well, that's been out for a while, but it has HD on it. So, to get back to my thing here on media players, you need to either get a computer that can play the video or a streaming device. Now I got one back here and I'll show you. I can't recommend it because I have not tried it yet. I just opened it today to show you. So basically this is a Hot Home Kill Pro. That's the brand. And actually it looks like it's a pretty neat unit because it's DVR. It has your TV inputs. It looks like I don't know if that's satellite TV, but there's also a 75 ohm connector on there, so that you could plug into an HD TV antenna, which I have, and I haven't tried it yet. But the one thing that I do not like about this particular unit is that the ventilation is on the bottom. Come on, folks, where does the heat go? Heat goes up, cold air goes down. Now when you have this sitting flat on your table, where's the heat going to go? Right back into the machine. And there's no ventilation anywhere on top, the side, or anything. It's just on the bottom. Poor design. Now I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this. I'm going to test it and find out whether if it works for me or not. And if it does, it's going to be going upside down, or I'm going to prop it up in some way. I'm not sure, maybe how like this, and blow a fan on it so that the air blows across those ventilation holes and pushes away the air. Yes, it'll be a little bit noisy, but where I'm going to put it, I don't care. It's going to be out of my way and out of my hearing. So that's just a little tip on a box, is make sure that it's good ventilated. And with your streaming box, though, like if you have more than one of these, make sure you have good internet. Like if you're on cable TV, you will. Now, there's some other things I'm going to talk about that you won't understand right now. I'll explain it to you as simple as I can. QoS stands for quality of service. Now, if you're going to get into this, you need to have a backbone. So, say like you have a 100 megabyte internet connection from whatever cable service you're at. Have 50 megabytes for reserve. It makes a stable connection. And use the other 50 megabytes for your use. So, like for instance, take this unit. Now, this is going to take a lot of bandwidth, and bandwidth is speed. And I haven't tried this one out yet, but I'm thinking, and what I've reserved on my internet is 10 megabytes down, and I reserved 1 megabyte up. Now, I haven't plugged it into the cable yet, and I can't remember if this one's wireless. I know it's wired, but I would not use the wireless, because when you start streaming HD video, it gets a lot of traffic, and wireless is pretty shaky. And I know there's a lot of hype about Wi-Fi. Oh, Wi-Fi, it's good. It's the best thing on the planet. No, wired is. Yes, there is restrictions to wired. I have a 50-foot roll of Belkin cable category 6. Now, I recommend category 6 and Belkin because I've been buying these cables since 2004, and they have lasted for a long time. And I've actually had to upgrade my cables last year because these Belkin cables were so old. This one's a fairly new one. But they last for a good long time. And I've bought cheap cables. And cheap comes with lousy performance. And I've actually had the cheap cables die on me and give me all sorts of networking havoc that I couldn't figure out what was going on. I didn't know it was the router, the modem, what it was. And I basically replaced the cable, found out that it was the cable. So good quality cable is a key here for streaming media and your phone. And I know I'm getting kind of off the trail here of all this stuff. Well, this is some things you gotta be aware of when you do this. And having good equipment. Now, home equipment is good for small use. Like accessing the internet with your tablet or your laptop or your iPhone for that matter. And I'm not saying if you got wireless and you got it set up, I'm not recommending that you get rid of it. I'm just saying that if you're going to go with video, you need to stick wired. Stay with wired. It's always going to give you performance. And, I mean, you're not going to run your cable 354 feet in your house. I mean, I don't have 354 feet. You know? So, these are capable of handling that far distance, but these work good for like 100 feet. I mean, this, like I said, this is a 50-footer, and I recommend running cable wherever you're at. Just whether if you can get behind your wall or in the floor, get yourself a drill bit, or hire somebody that has the drill bit and put a hole in your floor with a cable and plug it in. I recommend putting it all in your walls, but that's a whole nother subject. And I know most people can't do that. And if you're doing a new construction on your house, I recommend running Ethernet Cat 6 for everything. And like I've said, just use your wireless access point for your phones and not your VoIP service, which is voice over internet service, which is like I said, UMA and Vantage and Google Voice. But you want to stay, even though those units are wired and wireless, stay with the wired. You're always going to have performance. And for those people that are starting to, and I know this is getting off the subject again, but this is all having to do with wireless. Now, folks are getting security cameras for their house, and I have mine as well. And the first time I started out with cameras, I ran it off from Wi-Fi. Bad idea. I had so many problems with that thing staying online, and I actually had some friends telling me so far now that when I'm doing this video that they've actually installed cameras, but the thing doesn't stay online. It doesn't stay online because you got it hooked up to Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is not for video. Yeah, they advertise it for, 300 megabytes. This will work with cameras and all sorts of stuff. Give me a break. That's an advertising gimmick. Yes, it will work for your computer, but it will not work properly and stable for your video applications, like cameras and video streamers. And yeah, wired is the only way. And now the newest thing that I've got set up in my house is fiber optics, which is a whole nother video. And it's not internet, it's fiber optic networking. And I'm not going to go into that, but these are some of the things you should look at. And there's one other thing that if you're planning to install this on multiple TVs, like this Hot Home Pro, now, I mean, yes, they are expensive. I think it was about $189 for this Hot Home Pro unit. Now, like I said, I haven't tested this other unit out, and I have this one on my table, and I'm going to show you right now. Now, this is a pretty sweet unit, okay? I've had these installed on all of my computers. Now, I have not tried this on the Hot Home Pro unit, which I will be doing this shortly to see how this works. But this is a KVM Extender. And I have a PC in this office. I mean, I could show you right underneath my table right now, or even on my table, there is no tower. It's quiet in here. I mean, yes, there's a cooling fan running some equipment in here, but in my office, it's quiet. I can think without those PCs and the networking running. Now, when you start getting into heavy duty stuff, that's another thing that I haven't really discussed about, is that you need better stable equipment if you're going to be running video, especially these things. Now, the brand that I have is a PWDY HDMI KVM Extender. I bought these. I just bought this at the end of the year. I have 3 other ones installed and running, and I've had them probably about a little bit longer than 90 days, and they're perfect. The only thing that I have found with this particular unit, and I'm not going to go into it too much, is that this guy wants to be the head honcho of your KVM. So like if you have another keyboard and mouse installed on your system, I've had it, well, like say for instance for my setup, I have a KVM switch, and I put this in line with my switch for my computers, and it wanted to take over. It wouldn't let the host unit have its keyboard and mouse. So that's the only thing that's kind of a drawback to this thing. But if you're planning to run it into another room, like if you're going to run your Hot Home Pro on your say like your bedroom TV, because I know it's like my family I'm talking to said, well, I want to run it in my bedroom too, and I'm like, well, you can run a cable, and you can also, and I didn't tell them about this, but you can actually run one of these and it runs perfectly fine. But like I said, I haven't tested this out on the Hot Home Pro. I've had it on my PCs. So now that's another thing to look at. Let me show you the receiver. This is actually the transmitter. Let me tell you one thing about these that I didn't tell you about earlier. If you want to run these over your network, now there's 2 separate kind of units. There's this one, which is called, and it says it right on the bottom here. I don't know if you can see it too well, but it says TCP. Now, I don't understand what TCP means, but I do know that means that it runs over your network. Now, there's other ones that are called point-to-point. Basically means that you connect it from this unit to another unit through one cable, but you cannot connect it over multiple switches and routers. This one you can, and I paid a lot more for it. Well, I don't know. I mean, it wasn't that expensive, but it was probably $50 more than the one that I was looking at on the other ones that were just point to point. It just depends on what you want. But let me show you the receiving end of this unit. So basically, this is the receiving end of the unit, and it basically has the same thing, but it has RX. And so TX means transmit, and RX means receiver. And I don't know what the X stands for. But anyhow, this unit has the USB, and I actually have a wireless keyboard installed on this particular unit right now that has a built-in mouse. And it also has an IR extender, which is this black little round hole right here. That's the extender. And if you're going to plan on doing stuff like this, I know this is, like I said, this is totally off the subject, but and this is on a whole nother video, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, because there's another video on YouTube that I've done. It's called Parental Control, which explains a lot more about extenders and different things like that, and how to do different things. But there's what they call an IR extender, and I've got one that's wired. It doesn't go through this, but it actually just has a box and an IR receiver, and then it transmits the IR to the receivers and video equipment in my control room. Like I said, that's a whole nother video that I've already done, and I'll take some other time to cover some more things about that and other videos to get you started. But this is basically just on cutting your cable. And I don't know if I showed you the actual router that I have, but it's a business router. So this is a small business class router. It's about 50 bucks on Amazon right now, and this one actually is pretty good. And this is my backup unit. I have another one down cellar that's installed, but it's a load balancing router. Now this is way more than what you folks need, but if you have cable and you want more than what you're getting, you can always plug in another service like DSL or say like cellular internet. And actually, this works pretty good for backup. Now, if you're going to go with internet for your phone service, you might want to think about some kind of cell internet. Now, there's a lot of other options out there. I can't get into that really on this video. This is just basically just trying to get you started on getting rid of your cable. And the other thing that I highly recommend, and I might have said it before, but you need to leave your phone service on for at least 1 month with transferring it to whatever phone service you desire to have. And the reason is that there was one person, or maybe some other ones, but anyways, one that I've read, made a big boo-boo. He canned his landline service before switching over to Ooma. Guess what? Bye-bye phone number. He couldn't get it back. So, if you want your local area code of whatever that may be, you're going to have to keep that on. And I don't know anything too much about cable since I don't have it here, but you're going to have to unbundle it. Pay a little bit more for a little bit. I know it's a pain. I hate spending more money than I have to. But sooner or later, you're going to eliminate that. And I don't know how else to do it but to unbundle your service package. And like I said, I'm kind of over my head with this whole cable stuff of trying to get rid of it since I've never had it. But the fact is, just start eliminating it slowly. Don't just jump off it and say, well, heck with this service. I'm done with it. That's a wrong idea. Yeah, I got sick and tired of my phone service, my landline service, but I went and I just set up things slowly. So I got the phone service running first. And I tested it for probably about a month. But I wanted to make sure that the phone service was going to be reliable. Now, you can't say that the phone service is going to be reliable within a month, but I wanted to make sure that Ooma was going to work. I highly recommend Ooma because they're affordable. I mean, I don't know too much anymore. And Google Voice is good too. I have Google Voice as well. The only thing that I have found with Google Voice is either you use it or you lose it. So you gotta keep making phone calls out on it. And I've got 4 different lines through my Google box that I have. Well, it's not from Google itself. It's an OB box. That's a whole nother thing. Here's a video that I have on YouTube. I think it's called Voice Services and Adapters. That's the one that you should watch to explain about Google Voice. And I hope this video helps you out with cutting your cable. And there's many options out there, and I really don't, like I said, I'm not an average TV watcher, so I'm not really concerned, and I'm not going to afford, pay for video service through the internet. I mean, I'm going to do somewhat. I'm signed up to Amazon Video, so I'll be running that, but other than just standard TV, I know other people want to watch just TV. Not me. I mean, if I could get away with a couple movie channels, I would do it. But I hope you can. This is easy enough to understand and to get started. Just don't throw in the towel yet, okay? Just start at a little time. And I'm not saying to go out and buy a business class router, buy the Hot Home Pro. Do your research. I don't know what your needs are. I mean, you can contact me. I'm fine. I'm willing to help you out. That's what I'm here for. I'm not going to pull the wool over your eyes. I mean, if you want somebody to pull the wool over your eyes, go to Best Buy, why don't you? I mean, they're they're willing to have you pay them money to lie to you. I've had a bad experience with Best Buy, and I don't even like calling Best Buy. It was the worst buy that I ever had, and the worst experience. But I'm not going to get off on that either. But it's no skin off my nose what you do. I'm just putting the information out there for you to see it, and you to do your research. I mean, that's all you can do. Just, I mean, don't even take my word if you don't want. Just do your own research and look at other people's reviews, not just mine. But there's other people out there. But just don't get suckered into one person. I mean, I'm not totally up on every single thing, and I don't know everything. I'm still learning. And every day it's a new thing. Like this cutting the cable business. This is all new to me because I don't need to do it. But I'm trying to help people out to do it. And I wish I could say other things about it, but I can't because I don't know. So just look me up on Facebook. I go under Tony Pushing Tech, and that's TEC. I couldn't get the technology in the last name area of my Facebook. So you can send me an email. We can talk on the phone, what have you. I'm willing to give you more advice on things. And that's the other thing, is that I can't help you too well on a video because I don't know what your needs are. I can help my family out because I know what they want to do. So I can curtail your needs to what I know to help you out better. And I'll be honest with you, if I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know. And don't try to choke it out of me, because I'm not going to make something up for you. And so just do your research. If you need to contact me, feel free. There's a forum on Facebook that's also pushing technology to the limit. I'll have the links in the descriptions on YouTube. I'll also have resources on YouTube for this router and some other like the UMA device to get going. And I hope you find this video interesting. If you like it, please thumbs it up, subscribe to my channel. There's a lot more coming. I mean, this is not the last video I'm going to be doing. So just feel free to contact me whenever you need help, and I'll be there. And I'll see you later on Pushing Technology to the Limit.